And welcome to the I swear it takes longer every single time. Welcome to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. We are hitting all the questions today.
All of them.
The important questions. Some of the important questions are, I think we have a legitimate conversation about permanent records. Kind of like
we do have, there's some stuff.
I think it's a good one. I don't know if you know this or not. Apparently Ukraine is like winning the war.
They have rebounded.
Yeah, it's kind of like fluctuating back and forth. There's some other stuff on here that I thought we would just kind of like hit on, not dive into. Then some not so important questions. These are the fun ones. Why was Jimmy Kimmel laying on the floor last night? Should he have been laying on the floor last night? I propose to you, I don't understand people who are upset about The Little Mermaid. However, I do think there is a character flaw in The Little Mermaid. And then maybe the most important question of all, the pig. If you haven't heard about the pig, we're going to talk about the pig here at the end of the show. We have video of the pig per se. So that's the most important question that everyone was asking me about last night. So it's just a show full of questions. The king question of every show. Mark, how are you feeling today? I
am good.
Yeah.
I brought here. Do you want me to show you lunch?
We need to work on your adjectives because it's not your fault. We've been doing the show for almost 2 years now. Your adjectives to how are you doing today are good, tired. I'm trying to think that's really, we need to like make you pick different adjectives.
This is lunch.
Okay. Yeah.
I had a banana earlier because starting now, I'm going to live forever. After the coworkers yesterday made fun of me for high triglycerides,
is
really what my doctor told
forever,
me.
Though?
I'm going to live forever.
Do you want to?
Forever and ever, amen.
You don't want to live forever, do you?
Well, I mean,
you want to see your kids grow up.
You get to the point where, yeah, you can see people who are like, that doesn't look like it's any fun anymore.
Yeah, so like,
I'm with you.
For you, you want to
right
be healthy.
now, here's lunch.
Yeah, you want to be healthy to see your
What
kids
are you
grow
having
up.
for lunch?
I haven't had lunch.
I didn't ask that.
I am intermittent fasting as of right now.
Till when?
Until at least after the show. I'm doing well. I'm on hour 16 right now.
How
So I'm doing okay.
So will you? Okay, so hold on. So hour 16. So you ate at 7?
Last night,
8, 9?
Last night at 7:30, I had a cheesesteak sub.
Okay, so first of all, let's clarify. You're having a cheesesteak. I'm having a thing of fruit. Although
Totally.
last night, there's a chance that I went through a drive-through and had a burger and fries.
There you go.
So that's why living forever starts today.
Okay.
So like when you are you gonna make it to dinner? Or that's probably too late. You won't make it that long. You'll have to eat lunch.
Well, I think I will. I think today I'll make it to dinner only because of like how much I ate over the weekend. I had 2 pretty big meals yesterday. So today I'll probably make it to dinner.
So you'll go close to 24 hours.
It'll be close. Yeah. When I get back to the house around 5, I'll probably have like a snack and that'll break it. But yeah, I'll get close to 24 hours today.
Do you ever get so hungry you feel sick?
Not that I feel sick, but I have gotten so hungry before where like it's hard not to think about anything. Like it's hard to focus.
So sometimes when I get super hungry, I get pains.
Okay.
Like it's just not, you feel hungry, you feel hungrier, you feel even hungrier. I've got kind of like acute pains that I need to eat something.
Okay.
And sometimes I've gotten so hungry that I feel like if I don't eat something, I'm going to get sick, which is odd because I don't know what you're going to throw up because you haven't eaten anything.
Yeah. No, mine is always more a mental challenge than physical. Like I get to the point where then I start to think about food and then it's hard to focus on it. Whereas I know people like you where like it's an actual physical pain.
One of the fascinating things to me, and then we'll get, because we do have important stuff to talk about. When, because you introduced me to intermittent fasting and because of that, I've cut out breakfast. And I think it's really helped me. It helped me on the other side, just not eating crap while I'm sitting there watching TV just to do it.
Sure.
Like I'm not hungry, so I'm not going to eat this.
Sure.
But it's really fascinating to me how there are times I go to sleep and I'm hungry, or there are times I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm hungry and it's starting, but then I'll fall back asleep. I wake up in the morning and I'm not hungry at all.
Yeah.
And it is fascinating how the body kind of adjusts, and you would think. So, like, are you hungry at all right now?
Yeah, like I'm starting to get there. I can feel it. This is what I would say. I am not in shape. I am not like somebody that is like at the gym. what intermittent fasting has done for me is it has kind of kept my health afloat through COVID and through this transition of like not playing basketball anymore. So
you're still milking that COVID part. Like it's been over.
Sure.
You could have got your butt back on the court a while ago.
Maybe. But I think it's helped me. And what it also has done for me is like, I haven't changed my diet, but I know I'm not exercising. So what intermittent fasting has done for me is just kind of leveled it out, and it has maintained like my body throughout it. So at some point, I know there's going to be a tipping point where I'm either going to have to get back to the gym or I'm going to have to change my diet. But what the intermittent fasting has done is it allowed me to kind of like extend that, and I've survived. Like I've gotten through it without becoming like grossly overweight.
You've just got to get in some old man pickup games and just tear them apart.
I've said to you, my biggest issue is I've never really gone to like in this area. I've never just done like the YMCA pickup like game. I've always thrown myself into the fire of like high school and college athletes. And so I do think if I found the right groove, the right place to play, I think I would dive into it.
What you'll find as you get older, and I'll bet it's interesting with other basketball coaches as they've gone through this, you just keep, like I remember when I got to the level that I could play with the JV kids. Mm-hmm. I couldn't play with the varsity kids anymore because they were too fast. Mm-hmm. But I could play with the JV kids. And then you get to the point where you can play with the ninth graders because you're bigger and stronger, but they can run around you. So it's just that who your competition is.
I still think the biggest hurdle for me is mental, because I am still, the few times that I did kind of play this summer, like got out on the floor, it is the mental aspect of knowing what to do and physically not being able to do it.
Well, but there's a level for you because you're still young enough. There's a part that physically you can't do it because you're 35 now and you're not 21. Maybe. But there's also a part where you physically can't do it just because you haven't done it and you're out of shape. You still got some good basketball left in you.
Yeah, but it's a battle.
It's not. You're not above the rim anymore.
Yeah, like I used to.
I'm just saying, you're not above the rim.
Real quick before we start today's show, how about you give the CAC a shout out?
Yeah, we have a new sponsor, the Community Arts Center. I love the Community Arts Center because of the treasure of the building that it is. When you walk in there for whatever it is, they do award shows there. They do. The Ray of Lights is hosted there, but it is just, it's got that old time glamorous, it's not just cinder blocks and painted walls. Right. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous facility. And they're now under new management again. They've kept shuffling directors, maybe not management, but like directors. They really seem to have things going in the right direction now. They've teamed up with Penn College for a lot of stuff. I don't know what the official partnership is, but they just had Weird Al here a couple weeks ago, maybe in August. And on Thursday, they have Hotel California, which is an Eagles tribute band. Have you ever seen a good tribute band?
I saw, oh my goodness, I saw Fleetwood Mac's tribute band Tusk.
Okay.
And they were phenomenal.
The thing about tribute, because people are like, well, if I were to go see the Eagles, I would see the Eagles. Well, first of all, Glenn Fry's dead. Second of all, like if you want to go see the Eagles, A, they're not coming to Williamsport, and B, you'd pay $500 a ticket, sure. $750 a ticket.
Sure.
For these tribute bands, if you've ever seen them, they have to be great. Yeah. We've been to concerts. We've all been to concerts where it was good, it wasn't so good. It was, they sounded off and, whatever. Maybe they were, depending on the age of the performers, maybe they were drunk and they weren't on top of their game. These tribute bands are on top of their game or they wouldn't survive. Yeah. So if you like it's hard not to like the Eagles. If you were around in that era, they were like the quintessential 70s band. And trivia question, they were the backup band for who?
Oh, really?
Linda Ronstadt.
Okay.
That was like their first, I think, where they met or wherever they.
Yeah.
But so anyway, they're just catalogs and catalogs of songs. And if you are a music lover, if you like the live music scene, which pretty much most people like the live music scene, yeah. To go see this would be a great show. And again, Elvis impersonators are a blast. I've seen Kiss tribute bands. I saw an Ozzy Osbourne tribute band down at Hall's Landing once. and they are great. Like you're not going to walk away disappointed, and you're going to hear a lot of good songs that you're like, oh, I forgot that song. I haven't heard it in so long.
Yeah.
So it is Thursday night, if I forgot to mention that. Thursday night. So if you're planning out your week, it doesn't interfere with Friday night football. It doesn't interfere with, college football over the weekend or whatever your other plans are. Thursday night, the CAC, you can get your tickets. And it's actually, I'm not sure what I'm doing on Thursday night. It is on my radar a little bit. If I have a totally clear night, I might go check it out because it can't be bad. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Community Arts Center. Let's do important questions.
Yes,
I think it's interesting.
This sounds like either like a not a Jimmy Kimmel. Who's the other? Jimmy Fallon or a Bill Maher. Or this sounds like, here we are. This is our segment. Important questions.
Important questions. Ukraine is winning the war. Can they actually be winning the war? Here's like the most updated part. Again, we're not going to deep dive into these things. These are just things that I think are actually important going on in the world. I had said to you, as the weather started to turn, experts believe that Ukraine was in serious trouble because the ground would harden and Russia's tanks and everything would be able to go because the summer really slowed down the Russian tanks.
The monsoon season.
One of the things that people could not foresee was Russia running out of microchips. And because they have run out of microchips, they have not been able to use like a full arsenal of missiles the way that they would probably like to or had hoped to going into a change of season. Because of this, Ukraine has essentially gone on the offensive. According to President Zelensky, they have regained 2,300 square miles of territory in the last week. That's an area almost twice the size of Luxembourg. There are reports. Nobody actually in the U.S. has verified this yet, and the AP has not either. However, the AP is reporting that there are reports on the ground of Russian troops basically evacuating, leaving different spots on the border. So just insane to me. This is the exact opposite place I thought that we would be in the Ukraine-Russian war, given what I had read throughout the summer. So just mind-boggling to me. You just never know.
Yes. And it is, you just know that Russia never thought it would last this long.
I would think not.
They thought it was going to take 8 days. And now that they're, I mean, what the morale of the troops, the people, like now the Russian, it's one thing we can just steamroll in. If Russian troops feel like they're in danger now, and they're like, what are we doing?
So it'll be interesting as the weather gets cold. I know Russia has had a couple of strikes on their power grids, different nuclear places. So it'll be interesting to see it just energy resources go up as the seasons change. So Ukraine's dependency on those things will matter. So I'm just curious to see if it kind of will shift back or tide back into Russia's favor as the weather changes. But as of right now, Ukraine is on the offensive, and I just never would have thought that. The really important question that I'm excited to talk to you about, you just told me a story right before on the air. So we don't really know each other's opinion on this, but you told an interesting story that has to do, like, you can talk about permanent records, you can talk about DNA records, and I just find this, I'm excited to talk to you about this.
Well, I saw it, and I should have pulled it back up. It's in California. Okay. There is a female who back in either like 2016 or 2018 or something like that, had been sexually assaulted. Went in to the police, and they performed a rape kit on her. Okay. And I don't know whatever happened with that. That's not part of the story. So here we are years later now, and she is now charged with a crime of breaking into a house or something, because they used the DNA from the rape kit because it was on file. It's like when you get fingerprinted and it goes into this database. So they had her DNA on database.
Okay.
So now there was an outcry that this is not what it's used for, and we don't want to discourage crime victims to come in, and I think they're changing laws, and I think everyone's kind of on the same side of this, and I must be missing something, because I don't understand. I remember the first time I got fingerprinted was for a teaching job in Maryland. I was a long-term sub. So I was out of college, so I'm like 22-ish. And I remember when they're doing it, I was like, I've gone this long in life without ever being fingerprinted. Maybe I don't want this job.
Right.
But, you know, and then I'm like, but I assume that my fingerprints are on file.
Right.
And if I go steal a car wherever and they run it and my fingerprints come up in the database, that I can't say, well, but that was just for a teaching job.
Right.
So, and I know it's different, but
it's different because you got to choose to apply for the teaching job. This would, I mean, maybe again, because we're thinking out loud, maybe this is the most we've ever thought out loud before. Isn't there a sense that why would I be discouraged to come in for a test, whether it's fingerprinting for a job or whether it's a rape kit because of what happened, whatever the circumstances may be? Isn't there a sense that I would and still be willing to do that regardless of if there's like a permanent database or a permanent record, unless I'm a bad person who ends up planning on someday doing something wrong?
Correct.
So
they talked about, from a legal aspect, they talked about illegal search and seizure. Like they have these records, they shouldn't have these records. But at the same point, if this person is committing crimes, should we?
Well, the point is that there should, like, what is the discouragement if you're not committing a crime? Like, there is no discouragement for that lady to still come and get the test kit.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So if you're a law-abiding citizen,
the word that you used that stayed with me was discouragement, because the idea that you would be discouraged to do it still, regardless, you know, like I said, there's lots of reasons you might get your fingerprints tested, you might have to have your DNA swab, whatever it might be. Your only discouragement is that it might come back to get you someday. But in order for it to do so,
you need to be breaking laws.
You need to do something that, now again, the law is not perfect, the world's not perfect. I'm not saying people have never been committed for a crime they haven't committed. But for the most part, for the overgeneralized population, the idea that this would discourage you or it would come back to get you, I'm having a hard time seeing that.
I agree. So I don't, but when I was reading it, and I just read it really quickly before we went on the air, and then I want to do some more research on it, but it seems like they're changing law, that the police have said, you're right, we shouldn't be doing this. It seems like everybody on board, everybody that matters, is on board with the fact that they are going to stop taking rape kit DNA information. And then I don't know. So let me ask, while we're thinking out loud, we're just going to keep going with it. So say there is a person goes in and says there's a rape kit, and they get both the man's and the woman's DNA. And say something happens in the trial or whatever, and the man is exonerated. The woman says, you know, we made it up. I was mad at him. I made it up, whatever. The guy gets exonerated. So then down the road, he commits a crime and they have his DNA on record. But like, aren't all these, when you commit a crime, I understand the aspect of illegal search and seizure, but the reason they don't want illegal search and seizure is they just don't want the police to just be able to break in houses. Aren't there dozens of ways that people can get caught in a crime? And if this is one of them, then just stop committing the crime.
So let me, because I did this to you the other day, and I always think this is a good way to look at things sometimes, is to flip the question around. And so what I would say is, would you feel the same way if she wasn't convicted, if she didn't do the crime, but they still were able to use her DNA to check her out or to test it? Because right now, it's very easy for me and you to feel this way because, like, she did a crime. Like, it's so obvious. How many people have had their DNA used out of a rape kit or out of a hate crime or whatever the reason may be, right? They had to go to the hospital for something that was done to them and they had no intention of ever going to the hospital. How many of those samples have been used to test to see if they committed a crime or not. And would you feel the same way about your DNA being used if you or I found out that our DNA was being used without our consent or knowing it was part of it? Would we feel differently because we haven't been convicted of a crime?
I don't know. It's tough because I don't have any crimes that that I've committed, so I don't know.
You ever see like not to make this lighthearted, but you ever see like the CSI stuff? The Superbad made a joke of it too, but the whole concept of like the world is not like CSI. Like there's not always DNA just lying around. Like there's not. So I get your point. Like how often are they really having to go to these databases to see if a crime was committed by that person? I don't know.
And it goes back to what we talked about before. Do you really have someone, and maybe this is my, naivety, to say that someone who was sexually assaulted won't go do a rape kit because in the future they don't want their DNA on file in case they are committing crimes. Right. I don't know. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that people are upset by it. I guess I would say I'm more surprised at the push to make laws and legislation around it. That part surprised me. Like, it doesn't surprise me that there are a faction of people that would be upset. I'm more surprised at how it sounds as if people are getting behind it and like things and regulations are actually being put in place to not promote it. That's the part that surprises me. And again, I understand the real life world of illegal search and seizure. It just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for the criminal justice system where they're like, we know this is the perpetrator, but we're not allowed to know because we're not allowed to know.
Right.
So, I mean, we could take this to in any aspect where people are getting drug tested or, like with MMA fighters, since I just watched MMA, because they're all getting, whether it's urine samples or blood samples, or I don't know how they test them.
Sure.
But if they're like, part of being in MMA is we're going to keep your DNA goes into a database.
Right.
Is that a horrible thing? Because we're like, okay, well, as long as you're not committing crimes, nobody cares.
Right.
And then when you start committing crimes, we want to be able to catch you if you're committing crimes. And apparently I'm on the
opposite side.
I'm on the minority here because when you read it, they're just like, yep, we're changing laws. We shouldn't do it. We shouldn't have been doing it. And I don't really get it.
Interesting.
So
it brought up the other question that it made, because it's almost when I was in school, there was always this thread of like your permanent record. Do you remember that at all? You were in? Okay. So it does make you wonder. You go through like the early part of your life and there's this idea of like this demerits in your permanent record and it's going to be there forever. But then as you start to go through life, you realize like some of that is absolute baloney. It's not really there. However, there are things in our world now that maybe 20, 30 years ago were not like permanent record. Whether it's paying your bills online, it's your daily traffic through your phone or the internet. Like there's all these different things now that are being cataloged of you on your actual permanent record. I know what you mean. So I was sitting here and I was trying to think to myself, like, what is actually on my permanent record? Like in the way the world exists today, like what actually, obviously I have my phone records.
1,674 points.
What's that?
How many points did you score?
Oh, no, 1555.
Oh, okay. 1550. That's a round number. I can remember that.
But it comes back to the idea of like Googling yourself, like your phone log, like all of those things. It's not, the world shifted so much in the last decade or two that people's idea of what is ledgered of you
I get it.
has completely shifted.
I liked when you said, it seemed like a light bulb went off when you're like, the stuff they told us when we were young, damn it.
It's not.
They were lying to us.
No, like this was. I don't know. You tell me what school was like for you, because for me, there was this idea of like there were filing cabinets and you had a folder and it was like things went into the folder and that was your permanent record. And when you're like 15, it's like, oh my gosh, my permanent record.
My life is ruined.
Yes.
No, I picture you. I picture school for you in a one-room schoolhouse in Blossburg.
No.
With Miss Beadle up front. Here's the first graders. Here's the second graders. Here's
all just in one room.
Yep. Like Little House on the Prairie. That's what I'm picturing.
It wasn't like that. I loved my school experience. I would not have traded it for anything.
I really think your permanent record.
Yeah.
Line number 1, total points scored.
On my permanent record?
Your permanent record. That is the number 1 thing under Jeff Effort, 1555. Then it'll have career assists, which were like 4.
No.
And career attempts, which are like 6,200.
That was a lot. The attempts were up there. I will make the argument over and over again. I don't understand the state assist record. I will go to my grave. If Kyle Datras sees this, I will go to my grave arguing I had as many assists as Kyle Datras.
I don't understand, because you never passed the ball to get 1,555 points.
I had moments. I passed more than you think I did.
By the way, it's your cousin's birthday today. Did you see that?
It is.
Okay, I saw that on Facebook.
I have a card. I have a card waiting for him at the house.
I don't have a card for him, but I wanted to remind you. So you.
Oh, so that I knew.
Yeah, I wanted to remind you.
I have a girlfriend who is slowly. We have a running joke.
Moving out. Oh, I thought there was like she's slowly pulling away.
We have a running joke now with my friends that she is like my girlfriend / secretary at this point, because she is all of my flaws. She does a phenomenal job of just filling them. And one of my flaws is like birth dates, anniversaries, presents, remembering people's days.
So you're dating Facebook then, is what? You don't need a birthday calendar when you have Facebook. If someone wants you to remember their birthday, they just need to friend you.
Yeah, but Facebook doesn't like go out and buy a nice card. And
you don't have to buy cards anymore. You send a text.
I think there's certain people you get cards for, don't you think?
I mean, you do. But
on Jimmy's birthday, do you get him a card?
I don't think so.
You don't think you get him a card on Jimmy's birthday?
He's a 16-year-old kid. I don't think he got a card now.
It's not so. Let's do some not so important questions. These are the things that happened in our world that more people would like to talk about, but they probably, in the end of the day, they probably don't actually matter.
The value of a birthday card in 2022?
I think a birthday card in 2022 has more value than it did in like 1990. If you get a birthday card today, I mean, they really because like you said, you can send a text, you can wish them happy birthday on Facebook, to send a card means that they didn't do it for public approval. They went out of their way to get it. I really think a birthday card today has way more weight than 30 years ago. I do.
You don't think a text?
I think a text is good. Like, see that you're gonna try to downplay everything else because I said the value is higher. I
think.
Here's what I would say. If I wanted to send him a birthday text right now, it would be 10 seconds. To get him a card, like I'm going to the store, I'm flipping through, trying to figure out what one makes sense. I'm getting it. I'm writing something in it. I'm putting it in the envelope. Like, I think it holds a ton of weight.
And I get that, but with a text, you're going to get a conversation out of it.
Are you?
And it might even be, hey, thanks. What do you do? It might be just one or two back and forth. But at least there's a back and forth. You can drop a card in the mail and just be like, hey,
see, we are so different because, like, to me,
you don't want the conversation. You don't want to talk to him.
It's not that I don't want the conversation. It's that, like, if giving him conversation for his birthday is like, look at me, I'm giving him conversation. What does that then already say about our relationship? Like if these people are good enough for a card, I'm talking to them weekly, monthly. Like, the idea that a conversation on their birthday is this thing, like, I just disagree. But maybe I'm young enough in my life yet that, like, I'm still enough connected to people.
Okay, that is a valid point. So if they're card worthy, not sponge worthy, but card worthy.
Right.
Are you old enough to get the sponge worthy joke?
No.
Okay. The people who get it would laugh.
Okay.
If you're card worthy, then it's so you have people that you send a Facebook message to or a text to. Okay, interesting.
One of the most guilty things, like, this is so weird about like what you feel bad about and what you don't. On my birthday,
you don't feel bad about never passing the ball and scoring 1,555 points.
I passed the ball. On my birthday, when people go to Facebook and they leave like the traditional like happy birthday, have a great day, whatever it may be, at the end of the day, when I look back and I see all the things, I feel like the biggest jerk ever.
Because of all these people that you didn't say before.
No, because yes, I go 364 days a year and I never write happy birthday on anybody's Facebook.
Oh, you don't?
Ever. Like, it's not,
I do.
I don't get on Facebook in the morning and like go through the birthdays and like write. I don't do it. So
I don't do it every day, but sometimes I do. But I don't just say happy birthday. I say something like insulting or disparaging or something.
So my birthday is actually, I have this like 2-minute moment on my birthday where it's one of the guiltiest moments.
You're like, I feel like a bad person.
Like I do.
No, I'm with you. The people who reach out to me, because I kind of, if I have something funny to say, I never, ever, the day I just type happy birthday on someone's line, just shoot me in the head.
Okay.
Like, if that's the best I can come up with, it's not even worth it.
Okay.
So that's why there's lots of people who wish me happy birthday. Yeah. And I'm like, my God, I would have never even thought of any. I would have never even tried. Yeah. So yes, I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on that. I feel bad on my birthday.
That was good.
Now I feel bad on my birthday also because I keep getting old.
Because you're old. Yeah. No, you are old. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about with Jimmy Kimmel. One of the best conversations we ever had, and one that I enjoyed the most, was the Chris Rock Will Smith conversations.
Okay.
Only because you're one of the only people I know in my life that we could talk about it from different points of view and angles and all of those things. The Jimmy Kimmel Emmys last night, he was giving an award. There was a skit. He fell onto the ground. He played dead. He continued to play out the skit and play dead after an award was announced. The lady who came up to receive the award was Quinta Brunson. I always forget her first name. She is in the new show. It's kind of like The Office, but with school. It's called Abbott Elementary. I don't know if you've heard. I'm sure you haven't seen it, but I didn't know if you had heard of it. Very, very funny. She's incredibly. She fills the part perfectly. She honestly makes you believe she could be an elementary teacher. She's just phenomenal in it. She went up to give her award. The scuttlebutt of today is Jimmy Kimmel essentially laid on the ground as an old white male who is already famous and already has his, acclaim to fame. And then this young black female comes up onto the stage to receive an award. And it is maybe the biggest moment in her life. And she has to do it with Jimmy Kimmel playing dead next to the microphone as she gives her Emmy speech. Before you take the mic, there are some things here that should be known. First, Quinta Brunson and Jimmy Kimmel are not unfamiliar. One of the first talk shows she ever did was Jimmy Kimmel. She has said in interviews that Jimmy Kimmel was she believes one of the biggest reasons for like her startup in Hollywood, getting Abbott Elementary, all of those things. So she is already planning this week to go on to the Jimmy Kimmel show. It was a done deal even like before the Emmys. So some of this backlash is coming with the knowledge that they are friends, that she basically is okay with Jimmy Kimmel. I am curious of your opinion on it and whether or not you feel he stole her spotlight.
Okay, keep babbling for 2 seconds. I'm pulling up her. What's her? I need to.
Her name is Quinta
Brunson. I need to know who I'm talking about here.
It's fine. Like I said, she's the star of Abbott Elementary.
Okay. Yep. I know her.
It was her first Emmy. And she said in her acceptance speech afterwards, in like the post interviews, she said, I feel like the bit didn't bother me that much. She went on to talk about her relationship with Kimmel. At the end of it, jokingly, she said, tomorrow maybe I'll be mad at him. I'm going to be on his show on Wednesday, so I might punch him in the face. I'm not sure yet. So I don't think she said it to be condescending or serious. However, I do think there is a lining here where she wants to be civil and she is friends with Jimmy Kimmel, but at the same time, isn't quite sure how to feel about the idea that he just laid there in her biggest moment ever.
Okay, before we start here,
yes,
she is South Philadelphia, born and raised.
Okay.
I don't know if she's South Philadelphia, but she's from Philadelphia.
Okay.
She gained prominence. Did you know that? Do you know how she got her start?
No.
A self-produced Instagram series titled Girl Who Has Never Been on a Nice Date.
That is fantastic.
So anyway, here's my thought. And I tell them this to my kids, it's everything's with intent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that Jimmy Kimmel just thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, really hard to be, if someone's just trying to genuinely be funny and they're not trying to be mean-spirited, they're not trying to steal your thunder, then that has to be taken into consideration. It's like the difference between first-degree murder and manslaughter.
Sure.
The other aspect is you can also say that here we are the day after the Emmys. I didn't watch it. You didn't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only one we're talking about.
Correct.
So this may have helped her in the world of notoriety. Like,
I get it. You just won an Emmy, though. Like, I don't know.
Here's the last aspect. From, like, I've seen, I have to say less, I'm noticing. I've seen a billion of these award shows. I've seen lots of acceptance speeches. Most of them suck because they're the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
I know that her winning is the accomplishment, and it's never going to go away.
Sure.
I just equated to when my brother made the Hall of Fame. We just wanted him to get through the speech, not have anything bad happen, memorably bad,
sure,
because forever and ever and ever, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So forever and ever and ever, this chick's going to be an Emmy Award winner. Okay. So I don't think it's, because it's like when you say stealing the moment, it's not, this wasn't her 15 minutes of fame. Her fame is still there.
Correct. I would still argue it's her most important moment to date. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
okay.
I would say that.
Okay. Here is my biggest issue with all of this stuff, and it's what always bothers me, is when people try to attach their cause to the actual incident itself.
Okay.
So, for example, there's a lot of female versus male here, and like just another male trying to steal the spotlight from this female's moment. There's a lot of race tension here, and just another typical white male trying to take the moment from a black female lead. I understand that people have those causes. I don't appreciate them attaching this to this, because what I truly believe is this was a comedian who failed. That I really think that. And I think it was somebody who maybe he thought we had a good enough relationship that if I do this, she's not going to be offended or take it seriously. With all of that said, there is a huge hypocrisy to Jimmy Kimmel not realizing the moment and acting in the manner in which he acted. Because Jimmy Kimmel, for like the last 4 to 5 years, has kind of been like the civil police of late night. So if you watch like a Jimmy Kimmel monologue, he has been like the, just put your mask on, just stay indoors. Don't, like, Trump needs to act correctly. Like, he has turned his monologues into the civil police. And then he has this moment of just complete lapse of judgment, of not realizing that if anybody else did this, Jimmy Kimmel would have been all over them.
Okay, so let me say this. Let's take it another way. Say the winner is, I can't think of his name, Frank the Tank. Who is
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell.
Yes.
Say the winner's Will Ferrell.
Okay.
And Jimmy Kimmel's laying there.
Oh, yes.
Don't you think Will runs with this?
I think Will runs with it. Will has also won and is older. So I agree with you, but I think, is there somebody else we can use?
Okay.
Is there a young female actress that we can use?
I think
if Kristen Wiig.
I think she runs with it too. I think there are opportunities here for her to be funny and to play off of it, or to do something, and it could have then been a hit.
Yeah. So do you think then? So you think the biggest failure here is just that it wasn't funny?
It just didn't work. But I don't think there's anything.
But don't you think the fact that it's Jimmy Kimmel? I'm trying to think how I want to say this because I'm not Jimmy Kimmel and I don't know what Jimmy Kimmel was thinking. However, if you're gonna go, it's like you and I coming on this show every day, right? And I think there's a weight to what you and I say. Like I try to say things as honestly as I can to you because I know when I walk outside,
you're just going to lie for the rest of the day.
The few people, well, no, the few people that listen to this, right? Because you always say no one's listening.
Not many.
The few people that listen to this, if they ever come up to me, you can't lie. It'd be too many lies. Like you have to.
Right.
Isn't there a side to this with Jimmy Kimmel where just you can't go on late night every night and basically tell people that this is what you should do and this is how you should act. But then like in this moment, this lapse of judgment, you're just going to play dead on the stage when someone's giving their greatest speech. I don't know. I struggle with that hypocrisy. Because there was a time where Jimmy Kimmel was on the Man Show and girls were jumping on trampolines and he wasn't trying to be the civil police. And if that were the case, I'd be like, yeah, Jimmy Kimmel's he's the lead of the Man Show, and of course he'd lay on the floor and play dead. Why wouldn't he? But now he's put himself in this position of like, if you're gonna be this late night leader of social justice, and now you're kind of like doing, I don't know. Like to me, it doesn't.
I just balance. I don't think it's that big of a moment.
Okay.
I think she's coming up because in her world, she may hate to give it. It would be fascinating to see how many people hate to give the speeches, especially the actors and the actresses.
Let me ask you this then, just because I think I'm playing more devil's advocate, but I think it's a fair question to ask. How many young Black actresses do you think have won?
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
So I get to your eye, the moment might not hold the weight it does. I think for her individually, and I think, again, like for people who have their causes and are trying to attach it to it, I think the moment was probably bigger than you or I think it was.
I think the moment where they announced her as a winner
is the moment,
and it's bigger because forever and ever and ever she will have won.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll never take it away from her.
But now she's the person who won and gave her speech with Jimmy Kimmel lying on the floor.
But does that make it any?
Because again, let me put it to you this way: if I didn't bring this up, you would not know her as Quinta Brunson. You would know her as the actress who had to give the speech with Jimmy Kimmel lying.
And I will probably forever, when you say
yes.
Quinta Brunson, who's that? She's the chick who gave the speech. What's just, I mean, Questlove's is different, but. Because Questlove is the guy who Chris Rock was introduced as the winner right after he got slapped. So did that steal from his moment more? From the moment, yes. But when you're for this, I don't want to say it's a lifetime achievement, but to win an Emmy, you win for the show, but it is a lifetime achievement to get there. Yes. And for Questlove, this is a lifetime achievement.
No matter how long it takes you, it's a lifetime achievement.
Yeah, like they could have done it remotely because of COVID or whatever, and he still got it.
Yeah.
And even if the award isn't, I mean, I don't know.
It's interesting.
I think it's just,
it's a good, not so important question.
It is a very good, not so important question. Yeah. And one of the things that they've talked about too, I saw this interview. Was it Letterman or Leno? They were talking about the quality of monologue jokes.
Okay. And
one of them, whichever one it was, I think it was Letterman, he's like, we're way pickier because we don't fire out as many. Mm-hmm. They're like, I think it was, and if I'm wrong with this, but I think it was Letterman and Leno, and they were like, Leno just keeps drilling them. Right. So he doesn't need them all. Like there are some that fall totally flat in the monologue. And so, I mean, every night these guys go on and they say things, they think it's going to be funny. Some of them are funnier than they thought. Some of them, nobody laughs at all. And they're just like, ee. And these are professionals with professional writers who've been doing this their whole life. Mm-hmm. So for whatever reason, they thought it would be funnier in the moment. He thought it would be funny. And it just didn't hit. But the whole, I hate the whole like black, white, male, female. Jimmy Kimmel didn't get to be where he is by, and with the, as you say, with the social police that he is, that he's like, I'm going to try to steal her thunder. Like he's Jimmy Kimmel.
I agree. And I think that's why I don't think the incident, I think a week from now, people are going to forget. Like it's literally going to be a blip on society. It will not, in societal standards, it will not matter that this happens. However, I just like the next time Jimmy Kimmel wants to pick a social cause, which he has picked many in the last 4 to 5 years, does he, like, do people listen as intently as maybe they would have before? I think from his perspective, I think there's a ton of reflection to be had. You and I finish the show and we'll talk about something, and I reflect on what happened all the time. I wonder what Jimmy Kimmel's reflection is today, and if he wonders, like, I'm probably not the guy who hosted the Man Show anymore. Me lying dead on the floor in that moment is probably not the persona that I carry any longer. That's what I'm curious.
I guess, and I do
fascinates
like what I do get people trying to steal someone else's moment, like people who get engaged at someone else's wedding.
Yeah,
like
I've got good stories of that.
Could not. I don't think you could do something any more tacky. And to whatever people I just offended, I'm sorry. Like you don't get engaged at someone else's wedding.
Maybe you have permission or something.
It's their moment. Yes, if there's an extenuating circumstance where there is but it's their moment. It's the wedding is mostly the bride's moment. Let's be honest. It's not the groom's moment. So like, let her have her moment, and then you're honing in on it. I don't really think this is.
I'm with you. Do you want to save the Little Mermaid?
Yes.
Let's save the Little Mermaid, only because we're 40.
And you don't mean save it like she's drowning and we are, because she's a mermaid. Mermaids can't drown.
No, she can't drown. So I think it's going to be great. I'm going to try to pull this up real quick. For those who don't know, there was a pig in downtown Loyalsock, Clayton Avenue.
Can I even go as far as to say,
go ahead,
a pig on the lamb?
Ooh, I see what you did there.
Wasn't that good?
Yeah.
Wasn't that good?
That was good. I like it.
Go on.
Word got out that this pig was just walking around. Here's the video of him.
Is that a pig just going down Clayton Avenue?
Pretty incredible. All right. Well, we should start by saying not a tiny pig, not a small pig at all. It's almost, I would rank like seeing a bear, like when you're driving down the road, like when you see a deer now. Like, do you even flinch when you see a deer now?
If it's in front of me.
Yeah, well, yeah. I almost don't even react anymore.
You're
like when
yes.
I see a deer.
You're like, there's a deer.
Like you're there. It's like a bear, and then this would have been, I feel like this would have been right below it.
I'm just thinking, do you imagine the damage to a car that would do
that pig?
if you hit that pig?
Oh,
that thing is huge.
It's massive, and it's low to the ground. You actually might like lift up, don't you think?
No, I think you just
so?
cave the whole thing in. The pig might end up in your lap.
I don't know. It's a big guy, so we're gonna find out what happened to him. I personally don't know what happened to the pig. Have you heard anything?
I did not. I hope he's okay because when I found out of my high triglycerides, my doctor told me all pork products are bad.
Really?
Stay away from pork products. Chicken and turkey are much leaner meats.
Okay.
She told me that are you old enough to remember when they did pork chops, the other white meat?
Yeah, like
that campaign.
Yeah.
She's like, well, it's not good for you. So, so it was interesting that of the, depending on what your blood test types come back at, that yes, on the healthy scales, pork is not up there.
Interesting.
So I hope this guy's not dinner anywhere.
I hope not either.
And I loved ham. Oh, I love
ham's great. Bacon should be illegal. Bacon should be illegal. You shouldn't.
Well, it's not good for you.
I know it's not good for you, but I mean, it's so.
Neither's like Coke and Pepsi, but that's delicious too.
But see, to me, like that's the category of bacon where like it's so good and it's so delicious. Like it almost should be illegal because of how.
Are you're a crispy bacon guy?
I'm not. I like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I prefer.
Oh, that's wrong.
Really? You like it crispy?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Really? Don't you feel like it takes kind of the flavor out of it?
No.
Really?
So if you're ordering breakfast and you can get bacon or sausage, what do you get?
Bacon. That's not even a question.
It's not even a question?
Oh, no, not even close.
Do you not like sausage?
It might be actually the least Polish thing about me might be that I don't love sausage.
Okay, because I like sausage too, but I would pick the bacon. But if they're out of bacon and I'm stuck with sausage, that's delicious.
Not a huge fan of sausage. I don't know. I think I might have told this to you. Have you seen, and this is only relevant to me because, as you know, I have Lyme disease from a tick bite. Did you see what's happening with some of these different ticks? And there is now a red meat allergy. Have you seen this?
To people who have Lyme's?
No. So it's I believe it's a different tick. It's a different, I don't want to call it airborne, but it's like a different disease that you can get from these tick bites. And essentially, you become allergic to red meat.
No.
Yes. And they're finding it's more prominent in young kids than it is grown adults. So the older you are, the less likely the effects will have on you. But it's a real thing that is happening. People are developing these red meat allergies after these tick bites. It's wild.
Huh.
Can you imagine no red meat?
No, I couldn't. And I've had people tell me, one of my daughters is a vegetarian.
Okay.
She's talked to me about the health. She's laid out the health aspects of it. Listen, I get it if you eat vegetables all day, and, I get why but I always come back to, is life even worth living if you can't have a cheeseburger?
There was a supermodel who said that, and now I can't remember who it was, but they were like, you're so busy and, celebrity, and how do you stay sane? She goes, I have the biggest, greasiest cheeseburger I can find every weekend. And she's like, that is the thing that keeps me the most sane.
Could you, and I've always been fascinated by, I think the first person who melted cheese on a burger did it by accident. Because it seems like such a bizarre combination.
Yeah.
And I don't get how people don't like cheeseburgers. And we've talked about this. I'm more, if I'm at a cookout and it's like steaks, dogs, and burgers, I'll just take a burger every time.
Yeah.
I like burgers so much more than I like steak.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
So
Anything else before we have to go?
Yeah, what was I going to say?
It's okay if you don't. I'm going to keep the Little Mermaid for us. Knoebels, the Phoenix, was just named the #1 wooden roller coaster.
Again?
Yeah. I think it's a third or fourth time. I can't remember.
You know what's crazy about it? And don't get me wrong, I love the Phoenix. The Phoenix I think it's the second best wooden roller coaster in the park.
Oh, because of
I like the Twister better. I think the Twister is. The Twister is rougher because you kind of get thrown side to side more because it's very the Phoenix is very up and downish and but yeah, if I had one, we just don't know how spoiled we are. They are fantastic. Yeah. They are so much fun. Yeah. But I'm a Twister guy.
I just dislike roller coasters. Give the CAC one more shout out before we head out.
Oh yeah, Thursday night, Hotel California. If you have never seen, I think kind of everyone's seen an Elvis impersonator, maybe not a whole show of Elvis, but if you've never seen a tribute band, they are, I assume they will look the part, they will sound the part. It will be awesome. The musicianship will be great. Like, they would not be a touring band of doing Eagles shows and booking places like the CAC if they weren't great. It will be an A show. It'll be that good.
Nice.
Thursday night.
Breaking news: the NBA has suspended Phoenix Suns owner Robert Sarver for use of the N-word in sex-related comments.
The N-word in sex-related or and sex-related?
For use of the N-word, comma, and sex-related comments.
Okay, I was going to say, that's not good.
No, it is not. So that'd be interesting. That's just breaking right now.
What's his name?
Robert Sarver.
Has he been the owner for a long time, or is he a new owner?
Quite a while. He's very I feel bad saying this, but now after this report, probably not. He has always been compared to Donald Sterling from the sense of like a little stingy, tight with his money, not always in it for the right reasons as far as like owning a team. So like those comparisons obviously weren't great before this.
And when you say not in it for the right reasons, he's not hell bent on winning a championship.
He will sacrifice a championship if it means they saved.
He will.
X
It's a
amount of
business.
money.
It's
Yes.
not a competition.
Correct. Which I always thought owners got a bad rap for that because it's their money. But obviously as a fan, you would rather have an owner that the most important thing is winning a championship. I get that.
I can understand having to make, business decisions if you own a restaurant and you own, for these guys, if you have so much money, you own the Phoenix Suns.
Right.
It's never going to affect your daily living.
Sure.
It might affect someone's inheritance
Right.
or, your tax basis or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, there should be like this moral commitment that if you're buying an NBA, MLB, NFL, NHL, that you are there to win championships.
Now most of the new owners, I'm pretty sure that is part of the vetting. Are you in it to make money or do you want to be a part of this? Do you want to? And so I think now a lot of the new owners, you never hear about a new owner skimping. It just doesn't really happen.
No.
It's the ones that have been in it for a while. It's the ones that they're almost waiting out in a weird way. And Robert Sarver is certainly one of those. In professional sports, he is one of those.
Back to he's suspended indefinitely. I assume indefinitely.
It doesn't give a time. Washington Post reported it. Does not give.
We
click on it.
We should mention this. T.J. Watt getting second and third opinions. They said on it. He has a torn pec.
Yeah.
Torn pec. They're saying somewhere between 6 weeks and next year. And Najee Harris, I guess, is okay. That they think he's going to play. He left the game in a boot. So the Steelers won but took a lot of beatings.
The really interesting one to me, did you see the Notre Dame quarterback?
No.
He out of nowhere now is done for the season.
What happened to him?
I don't want to say the injury because it's not in front of me right now, but if you get a chance, look it up. Apparently, he had this injury. They believe it could be anywhere from so many weeks to the end of the season, but they're essentially saying he's done. But the timing is very. That stuff always makes you.
I did not know that. It is. It just seems like for the first week of the NFL season, someone else did the Eagles lose a lineman? It seems to me that the first week NFL injuries are disproportionate to the other weeks. Maybe it's not because I'm not numb to it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But when Watt ran off the field and said, "I just tore my pec," it's just and I hate the Steelers.
Sure.
I am not a Steeler fan, but it's just that sucks. The game is better with him in it than with him not in it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
So anyway,
thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. Be sure to go to NorthcentralPa.com for all of your local news. And thanks to the CAC, Eagles cover band.
Thursday night. Living it up in the Hotel California. You got a favorite Eagles song?
Yeah, Hotel California.
Okay, let's do this. Take away Hotel California and Take It Easy.
I thought those were the only two Eagles songs.
You got any other ones?
Nah.
Here's one you should look up.
Oh, okay.
It's called The Last Resort. It's I don't know what album it's on originally.
You've told me.
It's on Hell Freezes Over.
Mm-hmm.
Don Henley sings it.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
You've told me.
Lion Eyes is a great song that doesn't get enough publicity.
Yeah.
Kind of like Seven Bridges Road is a classic.
Yeah. Before you go through the whole catalog, I just want to wish my cousin Ryan a happy birthday.
So now you don't have to send him a card.
Yeah, but I already got it. I already did.
You can
save it. And when I say I, my girlfriend.
You can save it to the next one that you don't have a card for.
What if it has the number on it?
I will say this too, as I do with Chris. I will buy, if I'm ever looking for birthday cards because I got to get one,
right.
I will buy them and just hang on to them because that's funny. Yeah. I don't know who I'm giving it to yet. Mm-hmm. Because somebody had a birthday and I had a card laying right back there. And I was like, oh, yeah, I got one. Yeah. Because it was funny. So I'll use it for someone.
Nice.
Do you ever also do this? Do you ever find you're looking for a birthday card, but you can't find any funny ones? So you buy a funny anniversary card and just cross out anniversary and write birthday?
No, I've never done that before.
I've done that. That works.
Yeah. But see, you shop way more than I can count on one hand how many times I've shopped for a card. I just don't do it. But I have a phenomenal girlfriend who does do it. So there you go.
You're telling me you can't text someone for their birthday, and then you tell me you never shop for birthday cards.
No, that's not what I said. I said the weight of a card far exceeds what it means today than what it did in 1990. It does.
I don't want to be there the day Hannah wakes up and says, "What am I doing with this oaf?"
You think so?
I could
Say that?
I think there's gonna be an epiphany, and she's gonna say, "I could do so much better."
I think it's hard to find someone who admits their flaws, and I have.
I'll give you that.
The one thing that you know is I have always been very willing to admit my flaws.
I'll give you that.
Okay,
I'll give you
so
that.
there you go. Thank you guys for watching Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina, and we will see you.